Welcome to Same Spit, Different Face TV. Well, my opinions is facts, and if you don't like my opinions, you can start your own podcast. And it's free. So don't forget to spit on the like button, the subscribe button, and the notification.
Now, Spit Squad, Tory Lanez put in for an appeal. Now, a lot of people are saying that the appeal finds him innocent. The appeal does not find him innocent, but it also has reason to believe that it's a possibility that he may be innocent. When you look at the situation, a lot of the things that he put into the documents basically say, hey, I was given an unfair sentence. So he basically speaking on the guidelines of the things that happened. They gave him more time than he should have had. And then also when we look at the guidelines of what happened inside of the case, he's basically saying he had ineffective counsel. Why would you say he had ineffective counsel? Because they didn't make the correct arguments. Not only did they not make the correct arguments, when it was time for the security guard to speak, the DA basically said, hey, the security guard can speak, but we're going to need a whole nother week in order to get him. Now, the thing you also have to understand is that Tory Lanez's case was purposely placed around Christmas time, the holidays, because during the holidays, juries are more likely to find someone guilty during the holidays because they're ready to get back to their family. They don't want to be in there saying, oh, well, so if it's a 50-50 chance of you being guilty or innocent, you're probably going to get a guilty verdict. But if it's a 75 or 25 chance of you being innocent, you're probably going to get a guilty verdict because people are not trying to go back and forth. So if they see anything circumstantial, only thing they think, they're humans at the end of the day. The only thing they thinking about is getting back home to their family. So with all of that being said, Tory Lanez, it does appear he'll be granted an appeal, and they'll look over it. From what I understand, the DA has 14 days to reply to it, and they'll probably say, well, we gave him the opportunity to do this. This was done. Now, that's a couple of things that ended up happening. Nobody else was charged for the gun. They basically said Tory Lanez had the gun, which basically that puts it under the assumption that it was his gun, but the DA didn't take the time to try to find out whose gun it was, who brought the gun, where did the gun come from. So a lot of people are saying it was either Kelsey or Megan's gun. You heard EJ get on the stand and say, hey, when Megan travels by herself and she don't have security, she usually carries her own protection. And so it was just a couple of things like that, right? So Tory Lanez, will he get out? Who knows? Is he innocent? Who knows? Do I think he's innocent? I think he played a role in it, but I think in the role of actually shooting Megan Thee Stallion, I don't believe. And a lot of things that people don't understand is that he's actually not locked up for shooting Megan Thee Stallion. He's locked up for having possession of the gun and shooting the gun. But like I said, at the same time, that doesn't take care of the issue of whose actual gun was it? Who brought the gun to the place? Like, example, it was a case back in Chicago, maybe like 5 or 6 years ago, where this little girl had ended up getting a gun from her uncle or something, and she ended up killing somebody. Well, obviously the little girl went to jail, but because her uncle was the one who gave her the gun, he ended up getting charged for murder as well. So you have to look at stuff like that. Yeah, he had the gun, but then there's still a case of who brought the gun, where did the gun come from. Now, it would be, and I will say I do think this is a little different because Tory Lanez didn't bring up the issue of, well, who gun is it? But I think when you go to trial for stuff like this, you have to kind of be concise about what you fight about and not fight all over the place. So, but I do think establishing who gun it was and how the gun actually came into play in the middle of the argument, I think they was way too vague in this case about what they were trying to say. And I think it's because Tory Lanez was trying to say what happened without saying what happened. But with all of the things that's going on in the music industry and all of the people who snitching and all of the people who getting out and getting off, I think at this point, if Tory Lanez was allowed to get another trial, I think he would get on the stand, and I think he would place the gun in Kelsey's hand or place the gun in Megan's hand, or say Megan brought it and Kelsey got into. I think he definitely would get up there on his behalf and do those things in order to make it happen. And let's be real, this is a railroad. They railroaded Tory Lanez in this situation, and fortunately for him, he either have good standing with the lawyer, or he has the money, or somebody else is putting up the money for him to be able to fight this case. We've seen this a few times, man, where Rock Nation has got involved in artist business, and then the other side, whoever Rock Nation is going against, end up on the bad end of everything. Check out my original Chicago hood movie in the end screen, No Time to Play Fair.